A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry, that's Fair Oaks.
Gee, I don't see him.
Jerry!
Oh, hello, Mr. Randall. Golly, I was afraid you hadn't come.
And come. Say, you know me better than that, Jerry Dugan. Didn't I tell you yesterday afternoon on the phone I'd be in on this train?
Yes, sir, but... Oh, I didn't see you right away.
No, but don't forget that it was a whole lot easier for me to see you in that bright, shiny uniform than it was for you to catch sight of me in this old gunny sack.
Gunny sack?
Well, shall we get on up to the school, son?
Yes, sir.
Let's take a taxicab,
Well, I kind of thought we might be able to walk up there and talk on the way.
Oh, got something on your mind you don't want to talk about in front of other people, is that it?
Yes, sir, that's it. Oh, but I guess it wouldn't hurt to take a taxi. I can tell you a little bit about what I want to talk to you about. And then maybe we can sit out in the quad or someplace and finish there.
All right. Anything you say, son. Come along.
There's a cab over there, Mr. Randall.
Oh, right.
Cab, sir?
Yep. Get in, Jerry.
No, sir. You first, please.
Okay.
Where to?
Fair Oaks Military Academy.
Yes, sir.
Well, now, son, what's this all about?
Gee, Mr. Randall, I was certainly glad you could come to Fair Oaks today instead of waiting for the midterm exercises.
Yeah, so was I. It's sort of a little vacation for me. I've been pretty busy lately getting ready for next season, buying new acts and getting the costumes done over. Tara's been a busy little woman the last few weeks.
Oh, say, how is Clara, Mr. Randall?
Oh, she's fine, Jerry, just fine. Well, now, you ready to talk to me, Mr. Dugan? You seem to be sort of hedging, sort of beating around the bush.
Uh-huh. Well, Mr. Randall, how much money have I got left?
Money? Oh. Well, you've still got quite a neat little sum in your bank account, Jerry.
Uh-huh. Well, just about...
Jerry, why don't you come right out with it and tell me what's on your mind? You know me well enough to know that I want to help you do the right thing. If you've got something on your mind, some use for your money, well, as your guardian and your friend, I want to advise you as to the best way to solve your problem.
Yes, sir, I know that. Well, it's like this, Mr. Randall. Yesterday, Lee got word from the man who's been handling it. Wait a minute, I better tell you first that Lee is an orphan just like me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I guess I just forgot to tell you. Well, his father left him a pretty good business, or at least he thought it was good. A man by the name of Thorpe has been his executor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mr. Thorpe was Lee's dad's lawyer.
I see.
Well, yesterday, Major Davis called Lee into his office and told him that he'd had a letter from Mr. Thorpe, and that Mr. Thorpe said that something happened to the business and that Lee was going to have to leave Fair Oaks.
Oh, I see. Jerry, what is it you want to ask me?
I wanted to ask you if I could invite Lee to go back with us for midterm vacation, back to the Circus winter quarters. I'm sure he'd like to go.
Why, sure, son, that's all right. You knew I'd say yes to that, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I guess I did.
Well, now, what's that got to do with the amount of money in your bank account?
I don't know how to ask this.
Well, why don't you just start in and blurt it out?
Oh, here we are at the academy. Maybe I'd better wait until we get onto the campus.
All right, Jerry, we'll wait.
Well, it'll be 75 cents.
All right. Here you are.
Oh, thanks. Well, wait for you?
No, don't wait.
Okay.
Listen.
Yes, today's drill day. I got out of it to meet you.
Oh, I see. Is Lee over there drilling?
Yes, sir. That's another thing Lee'll miss. A lot of the cadets don't like drill, but Lee does.
Mm-hmm. You, Jerry?
Yes, sir, pretty well. I like horseback riding better, though.
Say, now that we're here in Custis Hall, maybe I'd better drop in and see Major Davis just to find out what this is all about.
You mean about Lee?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, Mr. Randall, if it's all right with you, I'd rather talk to you first and tell you my plan.
Well, okay, son, come along. Say, there's that Hunter Craig trophy there, Jerry, that you helped Fair Oaks to win.
Yes, sir. It looks swell in the trophy cabinet, doesn't it?
Ah, you bet it does.
Do you want to sit out here in the quad on one of the alumni benches or go to our room, Mr. Randall?
Whatever you say, son.
Well, let's sit out here for a little while. I kind of like the sound of drill. Well, it's sort of thrilling, isn't it? The band and everything.
Yes, it is. It is thrilling.
That's a Fair Oaks alma mater, Mr. Randall.
Yeah, I recognize it from hearing it at the riding meet.
Well, here's a bench. Is it all right?
You bet. Yeah. All right now, son, you get along with your plan.
Well, I just wondered what you'd think about me lending Lee enough money to at least finish out this year at Fair Oaks.
I see. Well, how much would you say you'd want to lend Lee?
Well, just enough to finish out the rest of this year. That wouldn't be much, would it?
No, not much. About $400 or $500.
Oh, that much, huh?
Changing your mind, son?
No, sir. I still want to do it.
Jerry, how do you know Lee would accept your offer of a loan? It's a ticklish business, you know, offering money to a friend in need.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I know. I thought of that. That's another thing I thought you could help me with.
Oh, I understand.
Oh, say, drill's over. Hey, let's go to the room, Mr. Randall. We can talk there for a little while longer, till Lee comes in.
All right. You know, you're sort of rushing me here a little bit and making a decision.
Well, I don't want to do that, Mr. Randall, but... Well, it's certainly important to decide something pretty soon, because, well, Lee's all set to go right home, or rather to Mr. Thorpe's home, just as soon as the midterm exams are over.
Mm-hmm.
He even said he didn't even think he'd stay for the exercises.
Oh, do you think he's affected that much by having to leave, Jerry?
Oh, yes, sir, I know he is. Golly, if you could have seen him, Mr. Randall, yesterday, just after he had that talk with Major Davis.
Yes, son, I think I realize how much it means to Lee right now.
Right now?
Yes, you know, I can remember a young circus rider almost shedding real tears over having to leave Randall Brothers' Greater Circus not so long ago.
Oh, yeah. I did, didn't I? I'd almost forgotten all about that.
Oh, yeah, and that's just it, Jerry. You see, time heals all wounds. Although leaving the academy means a great deal to Lee right now, he'll get over that, just as you've got over your disliking to leave the circus. He'll get into new surroundings and meet new friends, and although he'll undoubtedly never quite forget his days here at Fair Oaks, he'll get over his first grief. Then
you mean you're not going to let me lend Lee the money?
Well, son, I don't know quite what to say right now.
Well, gee, Mr. Randall.
Now, just a minute, Jerry. I know exactly how you feel, and I want to help Lee solve his problem, but I want to be sure it's done in the right way.
Yes, sir. Well, here's our room.
Wow, what's this?
Oh, golly, Lee's got almost all of his stuff packed. He's getting ready to go. Oh, Mr. Randall.
Comes pretty close to home right at this minute, doesn't it, son?
Yes, sir, it sure does.
Now, sit down.
Oh, yes, sir, excuse me.
Now, Jerry, I've got an idea.
Yes, sir?
We don't want to make this look obvious, do we? I mean, we want to do it in a way that won't be embarrassing to Lee, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, you wrote me about you and Lee finding a new friend and this boy from England. What's his name?
Bruce Dow Campbell.
Oh, yes. Well, now, Bruce will be a long way from home. You said his father's in the capital, didn't you?
Yes, he is.
Well, then, why don't you invite both the lads to join you and come to winter quarters?
Oh, I get it. And then Lee won't know that you and I are trying to work out something, some plan so we can stay at Fair Oaks. Is that it?
That's it. Now, you see, you didn't have to worry a few minutes ago.
Yeah. Oh, gee, Mr. Randall, I should have known that you wouldn't let me down.
Let you down? Say, not in your life.
Hey, listen, the fellas are coming back from drill.
Oh.
Mr. Randall, when Lee comes in, you kind of handle things, will you? I'm afraid I'll make a mistake.
All right, Jerry, leave it to me.
Come on in, Bruce. I don't... Mr. Randall.
Hello, Lee. As one cadet to another, how are you?
Gee, I'm glad to see you.
Surprise, huh, Lee?
I should say. Jerry told me you were coming up for the exercises, Mr. Randall, but I didn't know you'd be here so soon.
Well, fella, give myself a little vacation. Been working pretty hard lately, getting ready for the road again.
I see, sir. Well, it's certainly fine to have you here.
Thank you, son, thank you. Well, I suppose this is Cadet Dal Campbell, isn't it?
Oh, gee, excuse me. Yes, sir. Mr. Randall, this is Cadet Dal Campbell. Bruce, I want you to meet my guardian, Mr. Sam Randall.
Hello, Bruce.
It's a great pleasure meeting you. I've heard a great deal about you from Cadet Dugan.
Oh, nothing too bad, I hope.
Oh, no, sir. It's all been very, very complimentary.
Well, that's fine. Well, sit down, boys. This is your room, not mine.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it'll soon be vacation time, won't it, boys?
Yes,
Boy,
sir.
they will.
Quite a bit longer vacation than I counted on.
Yeah. Yes, Lee, Jerry told me you're not going to be here next term.
No, sir. He told you why, didn't he?
Yeah, yes, he did.
Well, I felt awfully blue about it yesterday, but... Well, I sort of slept on it last night, and today I don't feel nearly as badly. That's just one of those things, I guess.
Attaboy. That's the way to take it in stride, and that's showing the real Fair Oak spirit, isn't it, boys?
No, I'll say
Indeed
it
it is.
Well, Lee, Bruce, Jerry has something to say to you two boys. A little suggestion I made to him a few minutes ago.
Oh, is that so? What is it, Jerry?
Remember what I said about blurting, Jerry?
Yes, sir. Well, fellas, it's this. Mr. Randall suggested that I invite you to come with him and me to visit the circus in winter quarters. Gee, you'd like it swell, and it'll be a lot of fun to have the three of us together. And we'll have so many things to...
Here. Wait a minute, son. Maybe you don't have to deliver a sales talk on your idea.
Oh, no, maybe not. Hey, what do you think of it, Bruce? Lee?
Jerry, I think it's marvelous, and I'll be delighted to accept your invitation.
Oh, that's swell, Bruce. Lee?
Well, I don't know, Jerry. You see, I got a letter from Mr. Thorpe today, and he said he thought I ought to get to Mapleton right away.
Mapleton?
Yes, sir. That was my home.
Oh, say, listen, that's only about 50 miles from Melrose City.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir, that's right.
Well, now, that's fine. The circus winter quarters are in Melrose City.
They are?
Sure, Lee. Didn't I ever tell you?
Probably not, Jerry. I'll tell you what I'll do, Lee.
Yes, sir?
I'll wire Mr. Thorpe tonight and, as Jerry's guardian, ask for his permission to have you join the other lads during vacation. How's that?
Oh, thanks, Mr. Randall. That's swell.
countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, The Vital Factor by Nelson Bond. I doubt that anywhere on Earth there's a man or woman or a child who doesn't know the name Wayne Crowder. I doubt whether there's a human being who hasn't at one time or another used one of the Crowder products. The can opener or the razor blade or the patented tooth powder dispenser or the Crowder improved slideless fastener. In the magazines which write about men of business, Crowder was described as a man of ice and stone and ink and steel. No warmth to his blood. And a heart to pump, not feel human emotion. And he built a battery of buttons into his desk so that when he wanted something, all he ever had to do was press a button. And like genies springing out of the bottle, the proper personnel would come running.
Yes, Mr. Crowder?
Get me my engineers.
Yes, sir. Right away, Mr. Crowder. Here are your engineers, sir.
All right, close the door and get out. Now, gentlemen, sit down. Gentlemen, I want you to build me a spaceship.
A spaceship, sir?
That's right. I've decided that I am going to be the man who gives space flight to mankind. Any questions?
Sir, we can design such a ship. That part isn't too hard.
Yes?
But we've no way of providing the motor to power such a ship.
When the ship's ready to fly, there'll be a motor.
Sir, I don't like to contradict you, but you can't go ahead of the total technology of a historical period. It's like asking somebody in 1600 to build the internal combustion engine. You see, scientists have been searching for a motive power for spaceships for decades now without success. You'll have a ship, but we can't lift that ship from the Earth's surface. That is, not to the point of free flight at any rate.
Mr. Crowder, you see you'll be spending millions of dollars, hundreds of millions perhaps, for nothing.
What's your name?
Phillips, sir.
You're fired. Go down to the cashier and draw your pay and get out.
What, sir?
Get out. Nobody who works for me thinks of how much something costs. We use money. We don't let expense provide a rationalization for not beginning a project. All right, Phillips. I give you permission to leave. Right now. Any other comments?
The ship will be built, of course, Mr. Crowder. The fact still remains, we can't power it.
You design the ship, I'll find the motor for you.
Where, sir?
I don't know. But somewhere in the world there's a man who does know the secret. I want that motor, and I'll root out the man who has the theory which will let us build it.
How quickly do you want this done, sir?
Yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything you need?
We'll need a construction yard, sir, and certain machinery and a great many materials, of course. Labor force.
Get them. Send me the bills. I don't want to be bothered with minor details.
Yes, sir. And, one more thing, sir. Phillips.
Yes?
We need him, sir. He's a top man on electronics. He's a vital cog in our team.
I don't want Phillips working for me. That's clear, I hope. Who else in the country knows what he does?
No one in this country, sir. There's a man in India, though.
Get him.
We've tried before, Mr. Crowder. He's working on an important project in his country.
I'm not concerned with details. Get that man, pay him what he wants, but get him.
Sir, you don't understand. If this man quits his job, that whole project will collapse.
It means the welfare of many people, millions of people in his country. He has a high sense of patriotism.
Buy that sense of patriotism. That's all. I don't want to see any of you again until you have a report of work in progress.
Yes, sir.
Miss Holmes, there's a man named Phillips going to draw his pay. I want 2 company policemen to meet him at the cashier's office and escort him from there directly off the premises, and I want them to be emphatic about it.
Yes, Mr. Crowder.
And notify the newspapers, the television, and the radio networks, the periodicals, and the scientific journals that I'll receive the press in my office this afternoon at 3:30. I have an important announcement to make. Anyone not here at 3:30 will be barred, and the publication or company he represents will not be given any further information. Gentlemen, you can finish your drinks later. Gentlemen of the press, and ladies, it's my pleasure to be able to tell you that I'm in the process of constructing a spaceship. Any questions?
Did you say spaceship?
That's right.
That's what I thought you said. I knew the drinks weren't that strong.
Mr. Crowder, is this spaceship under construction now?
It is.
You've solved the problem of motive force, then?
No, sir.
Well, what sort of... You mean you have no means of propulsion for this spaceship?
That problem is not solved as yet.
Oh!
It will be. That's why I called you in this afternoon. I want you to announce that I have $100,000 in cash, waiting for the man or woman who first brings me the basic idea for such a motor. I'll supply all equipment for research and construction, and I'll see that the rights of the inventor are protected and more than adequate royalties will be paid him or her. That's all I have to say now.
Mr. Crowder, one more question, please.
Yes?
Do you have a name for this spaceship yet?
No, not yet.
Well, then let me suggest one.
Yes?
Crowder's Folly.
Quiet! All of you, quiet! What is your paper?
The Daily Times, sir.
Miss Holmes, inform the company police that under no circumstances is any representative of the Daily Times ever to be allowed on company property again. Strike that paper from the list of those to be invited to future conferences.
It was Crowder's Folly, but the word of what he wanted circulated to the far corners of the globe. It was known in the white ice block huts of the Eskimos and in the grass-thatched villages of Central Africa, as well as places less remote. And the Crowder office became the Mecca and the heaven for the lunatic fringe of humanity. Their blueprints and scale models clogged its corridors.
I told you I don't want these people in my office till they're screened. Now get out, get out! Every time I open that door, they surge in like a tidal wave.
I have a progress report for you, sir. The ship is finished as far as we can go, Mr. Crowder. Certain additional construction can't be done now because it depends on the shape and mass of the engine, on the type of fuel, on the weight of that fuel.
I see, all right. Lay off everybody we don't need.
I've ordered that. Mr. Crowder, is it possible that no one will turn up with a motor?
That's the one thing that's not possible. He will come. Money and determination will buy anything. Close the door on your way out.
Yes, sir.
Miss Holmes, order the proper department to put a name on the forward end of the ship. I want letters in pure gold 1 foot high. The name of the ship is Crowder's Folly. Get it done today.
The sun came up in the morning, and the sun set at night, glinting rose on the silver sheen of the hollow ship's skin as it lay in the yard. The golden letters on the prow spelled out the fury of Crowder for the world to see. A staff of 50 were employed as time went on in taking rust preventative measures to ensure the ship's well-being. The staff of 50 worked in 3 shifts around the clock, armed with oil cans and grease cans and other containers and sprayers of preservatives. In a year, the first experiment seemed ready to bear fruit, and a test was held. The atomic fission motor.
In exactly 45 seconds now, we'll hold the test, Mr. Crowder. The sound you hear is our generators here, building up power to supply the motor by remote control. If this needle goes round to the part of the dial marked in red, there'll be an explosion. Are there any questions, sir?
Proceed with the tests.
Watch the needle, sir. 8,000, 8,500, 9,000, 10, 11, 12, 15. That's an overload now, sir. 18, 20. I don't know how much more it can...
What happened? The generator blew out. What kind of incompetency?
I beg your pardon, sir. The motor blew up.
What are you talking about? I would have heard...
You see, sir, it takes a while for the vibrations of an explosion to travel 3 miles and then reach through 15 feet of concrete.
I see. Well, there are other experiments in progress. Let me know when they're ready for testing.
Yes, sir. Mr. Crowder, the inventor of that motor had to be right with it, of course, during the tests. He had a family.
The fool knew what he was doing. He understood the danger. He was paid enough to be able to afford insurance.
The cost of insurance on such a project was prohibitive, sir.
Well, if his wife was thrifty, she saved out of what he earned this last year.
His salary was relatively small, sir. Most of the money went for the research.
He should have demanded an adequate salary. I haven't spent it on money. The fool failed. I have no further responsibility.
Yes, sir. You want us to continue screening applicants?
Of course. All right. Make a settlement on the widow. And don't turn anyone away if he seems to have the remotest possibility of success. I'm telling you, my man will come. Money and determination will buy anything.
And strangely enough, Crowder was right. Because one day there came to his office a stranger, a small man. He looked even smaller in that tremendous room. He was an unusual visitor in that he carried no briefcase fat with blueprints or formulae. He was unusual in that he neither blustered, cowered, nor deferred to his host. He was a pleasant little stranger, bird-like of eye and movement, bright and smiling.
Mr. Crowder, my name is Wilkins. I can power that ship you want.
So?
Of course, what I have in mind won't be anything like that meaningless, huge bullet your engineers built for you. Rockets are a foolish waste of time, sir. My motor requires a different sort of vessel.
Where are your plans?
Right here, in my head.
It so happens that I'm presently supporting 6 people who make the same claims. None of them have been successful. What makes you think your idea will work?
Simple enough, sir. A common magnet.
Huh?
Electromagnetism. Utilization of the force of gravity, or its opposite in this case, counter-gravity.
Oh, no. Oh, thank you very much. Now, if you'll forgive me now...
Just one moment, Mr. Crowder. There's one thing more. This.
Now, I've seen pieces of metal before, thank you.
How high from your desk would you say that I'm holding it?
I'm very sorry, Mr. Wilkins. Now, do you want to leave or do you want to be escorted out?
This will only take a second, sir. How high from your desk would you say that I'm holding this piece of metal?
1.5 feet, I'd say.
And if I let go, then in less than a second, a fraction of a second, it should fall to your desk.
Now, look, I don't want the surface of that desk marred.
But will it be? You see, I have let go of the metal, is that right?
Good Lord.
Many seconds ago, it should have crashed to the desk, am I right?
Well, this is incredible.
Well, if you want to speak to me anymore, I'll be right outside.
But it hasn't fallen.
That's right, sir. It hasn't fallen.
It floats in the air.
That's right, sir. It floats in the air.
How do you do it?
Why don't you call your engineers and ask them? I'll wait outside.
Miss Holmes,
Get me my engineers. Immediately.
All right, Mr. Wilkins, you're quite right. The piece of metal is apparently counter-gravity, and my engineers can give me no explanation.
Thank you, sir.
Now, what do you want?
For my services?
Yes.
You've already set the price. To build a pilot model based on this sample, no great expenditure, 100th of the cost of your behemoth sitting out there in your building yard. 3 other things: a workshop, expert mechanical assistance, and an answer to one question.
What is your question?
Why do you want so much to build this ship?
Frankly, because I love power. Because I'm ambitious. I want to be the first to conquer space, because if I can do it, it'll make me greater, richer, stronger than any man has ever been. I want to be the master, not only of one world, but of worlds.
That's an honest answer. But is it the only one?
You see those letters in gold on the prow of my ship? Crowder's Folly, that's what they named it. That's what they think of me. I want to cram those words down their petty little throats and let them eat mud. That's another answer.
And that's all? That is as far as your thinking goes?
What other answer is there to your question?
There's my own answer. I want to leave this planet and go elsewhere, to Mars, perhaps, because there are strange wonders yet to be found. Because there will be scarlet sunsets over barren wastes, and in the star-strewn night the thin, cold air of a dying world stirring in restless sighs across the valleys of the dry canals. You may laugh out loud if you wish, Mr. Crowder. I would prefer that to the peculiar repressed smile you're now exhibiting.
You're a very lucky man, Mr. Wilkins, in that you have scientific talent, because your talents as a poet are inferior and very sentimental. All right, you're a sentimentalist, and I'm a man of action. No matter. We can work together, you and I. Your workshop will be ready by morning. I don't need to hear from you again till you have something to show me. If you need to see me, call me day or night. I'll be available. But don't bother me with details, because I probably won't understand what you're talking about anyhow. If you need money or materials or personnel, just tell my engineers. You'll get it, or I'll know the reason why. That's all.
Thank you, sir.
Miss Holmes, get me my engineers.
Yes, Mr. Crowder?
We have 50 men working on preserving that useless hulk out there in the construction yards. Lay them off.
The ship will deteriorate if we do that, sir.
Let it rot. Lay them off.
Yes, sir.
How many other employees are still working for us on the project?
About 3,000, sir, including the people working on experimental motors.
Get rid of them.
Sir?
Get rid of them.
Mr. Crowder, I never thought you'd drop this project. You were so adamant.
I'm not dropping anything but deadwood. You saw what Wilkins had to offer. He's my man. And the rest is junk and nonsense.
Mr. Crowder, he might fail. We ought to have a minimum of protection.
I say he won't fail. I know the goods when I see it. The rest is nonsense.
Several of the experimenters were making much greater progress than I thought was possible. There are great opportunities there.
I'm not interested.
Not only in the field of spaceships, sir. One man has a motor no bigger than a football, which will drive an automobile 24 hours on 4 cents worth of fuel. It's almost finished, sir.
Not interested.
It will be a great benefit to mankind, sir. Your name will go down.
My name will go down in history for this spaceship.
The profits in such a motor, sir.
I have more money now than I even know how to count. And when I make my space flight, I'll have more than that.
Yes, sir.
You just lay everybody off that isn't needed. Give them 2 weeks' pay and my thanks for a thankless job well done. And that's all.
Yes, sir. I'll get it done, sir.
Oh, one more thing. There's no need to let the folly rot. Dismantle it. Sell the basic materials we don't need. Salvage whatever will be useful to us. That's all.
A year's work.
Yes. In 10 years or 20 years, then I do the same thing. That's why you're an engineer and I'm an executive. That's why you work for me. Because when I have to, I can be ruthless with my own mistakes. When a thing has lost its usefulness to me, I get rid of it. Well?
I was just thinking, Mr. Crowder. What would happen to me if my usefulness to you were over? I've worked for you 20 years now.
Just don't give me any occasion to consider your usefulness terminated. That oughtn't to be too hard.
What?
Nothing, sir. I'll make the arrangements at once.
Who are you? What do you want?
I tried to stop him, sir.
Well, speak up, man.
My name is Jarvis Ustuli. I'm an electronics expert.
Oh, yes, I remember. You're the Indian. Come in, come in.
Do you want me, sir? I can never...
Never mind, Miss Holmes. Just stay outside. Close the door behind you. Sit down, Miss Ustuli.
Thank you, no. I want to give you a gift before I leave.
Oh? You leaving? I thought we still needed you.
I resigned.
Sorry to hear that. I'm told you're a good man.
I want you to understand what's behind this gift.
Huh?
I was working on a power project in my country which would have meant a tremendous rise in the standard of living for millions of my people. I was unable to resist the money you offered.
Well, had you resisted, even more money would have been forthcoming. I placed no limit on your worth to me.
I understand. But you see, I did not come without a sense of guilt, because there was no one in my country who could take my place.
I would assume that.
And now I discover that what I did was for nothing. The spaceship on which I worked is being dismantled.
That's right.
So I have been corrupted by you at a whim. I think you have too much power, sir. I think you use your power for evil, selfish purpose.
Selfish, yes. Evil, no. Only sentimentality is evil.
I think otherwise. And so, in order that you shall not corrupt anyone else, I have this gift for you. Here you are, sir. And just one more shot for good measure to make sure you're really dead. Good.
Miss Holmes, there's a man on his way out by the name of Jarvis Ustuli, an engineer. He's not to be molested. He probably won't stop at the cashier, so I want a check for 6 months' salary in advance mailed to his home address. The man showed a certain quality of ruthlessness which is deserving of recognition. Oh, and have the chief of the company police bring me a new bulletproof vest. This one seems to have been dented in a couple of places.
The new spaceship, according to Wilkins' plans, as executed by Crowder's engineers, was finished within 4 months. It was small. It was shaped like a disc. It gleamed brightly even in the smoky haze of an October sunset. Inside, Crowder and Mr. Wilkins, in a small cubicle at the heart of the machine, sat surrounded by many instruments of a complicated nature. Outside, huge crowds gathered to witness the test. They stirred and murmured, waiting restlessly, as inside the control room of the craft, Wilkins installed the final secret part he had not revealed to those who built his driving apparatus.
Well, Wilkins, what's holding us up?
Nothing new. Oh, sentiment, perhaps. A wish to look once more on Earth's familiar scenes. Yeah. Now the screening is removed. Look at the people out there.
Never mind looking out there. Let's leave that thing closed. You're a sentimental fool. Or are you afraid? Or did you decide at the last minute that your invention would work?
It will work. Sit down, Mr. Crowder. Thank you. Do me a favor. When I press this button, will you please press the button on the arm of the chair in which you're seated? I'll tell you when.
Turn on your motor. I want to hear its roar and feel its tug as we cut loose from Earth's gravity and fly outward into space. That might be a moment in which I'd share your sentimentality.
Press your button now, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Wilkins, I'm beginning to distrust you. If this is all a hoax, When are we going to take off? You said at 5 sharp, and it's 2 minutes after 5 now. Well, do we move or don't we?
Mr. Crowder, we're already moving. The button you pushed was to nullify the effects of acceleration. If you don't mind, sir, I'd like to open the screen again. Now, care to look? See for yourself.
Wilkins, we're in space. Look down at the Earth. How far we've come. Why, it's no bigger than a toy balloon. No, a dime. No, a firefly. Man, Wilkins, you've done it.
Yes.
I swore to be the first man to conquer space, and I've done it. It's a triumph of power and ambition.
And sentiment.
Blast sentiment. Your maudlin dreaming would have died unborn except for me. I made this possible, Wilkins. Don't you ever forget that. My capital, my forcefulness, my will. Look out there. Space. Stars that never were seen from Earth. And this is only the beginning. We'll build a larger model, one great enough to hold 100 men, 1,000, and cargo besides. Whoever wants to leave Earth this moment must come to me. I am the master of the planet. All right, Wilkins. Turn back now.
No.
What? I said turn back.
No.
Well, we've proved the ship can fly now. Now turn back. I want to start work at once in preparation for the long flights to come.
Not so. We will go on.
What are you doing? Defying me? I'll break your puny little body into pieces.
Can you control this ship, Mr. Crowder? Would you like to be stranded out here in space, just adrift in space without control? Would you like that?
Turn back.
No.
What's the matter with you? Are you out of your mind?
Oh, I am a sentimentalist, Mr. Crowder. Your money and ambition paved the way, that's true, but sentiment was the vital factor that sent me to you. Sentiment, sir. You see, Mr. Crowder, I wanted to go home.
Home? Home? You are out of your mind.
You will forgive me if I remove these primitive clothes?
Who are you?
Oh, it's all right, Mr. Crowder. I hold no special malice toward you. There's no need to be so terrified because you've had your first close look at a Martian.
You have just heard X-1 presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Tonight by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Vital Factor by Nelson Bond, as adapted for radio by Howard Rodman. Featured in the cast were Joe DeSantis, Guy Sorrell, John McGovern, Grant Richards, Louis Van Ruten, Richard Hamilton, and Florence Williams. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
The Magic Island is sinking into the ocean. It is sinking at the will of G47 and the scientists, however, and no one inside the artificial island is in any danger. The strange isle of Euclidia is being submerged below the surface of the sea in order to permit a large fleet of battleships to hold maneuvers over it without suspecting the existence of the island. The Gregory yacht has been drawn into a submarine lock under the surface of the island, and Mrs. Gregory, Captain Bradford, and Jerry and Joan discussed the situation in the radio cabin of the yacht.
You said the Euclideans could destroy a battle fleet easily and quickly, Joan. Why don't they destroy this one?
I think there's a very good reason. You know what it is, do you not, Captain Tex?
That's got me, Joan. I may be a little stupid after my long swim, but I can't see it.
Well, the only reason I can think of is that this crazy bunch aren't quite ready to start destroying battleships or warships But I don't see what they're waiting for.
Captain Bradford, you realize that those battleships are almost upon us. They will be over this position in an hour, if what you heard the guard say is true.
I know that, Joan, but how did those ships get so close?
Hey, I'm beginning to get it. They let those ships get within range on purpose, didn't they, Joan?
Of course, Jerry.
But why?
I got it, Captain. They must have seen those battleships come in for the last 200 miles or more. And the reason they didn't make any move to stop them was because they didn't want anybody to suspect this island. They wanted you to get out that pigeon. Then they figured to stop the pigeon and get the formula.
You are exactly right, Jerry. These Euclideans have great patience, and they will have many more chances to destroy battleships, while this was their last chance to get the captain's formula.
But they've missed their chance anyhow. The pigeon got away, and the ships are too near for them to go after the pigeon.
Yes, Mother, and G-47 will not attack those ships without the captain's formula, for he is not sure the formula has not found its way to friendly hands already. And in that event, Euclidia would live a very short life.
Boy, that's almighty keen for us, isn't it, Tex?
It sure is, son. That little pigeon is well on his way to Johnson's boat now. And if this battle fleet stays around these waters for a few hours, long enough for the pigeon to reach Johnson's boat, and for Johnson to start running back to Los Angeles, we're as good as off this island now.
Out of it, you mean? We're inside the blamed thing now.
We are quite safe in here. There is nothing to worry about.
But inside this lot, we must be 10 feet below the surface of the water now. How about the air?
The air is kept fresh from oxygen tanks in the base of the island. There is enough compressed oxygen there to feed every chamber on the island a normal flow of pure air if we were submerged for a month. And even after that, for they have machinery for getting the oxygen out of the water around us.
Golly whiskers.
Well, Tex, it seems that we're comparatively safe at least. Though it's a strange feeling to be on board a yacht that's floating below the surface of the ocean.
Yes, we're all right until G-47 decides to do something to us. And when he decides that the pigeon is safely on its way, I think he'll begin to do things.
Tell us what happened to you, Captain. When the lock gates to the ocean were closed, we thought you had been caught outside the lock.
It was terrible, Tex. To feel the yacht being submerged and thinking of you out there, helpless when the island went under also.
Well, I was inside the lock before they closed the gate. But I floated out near the end of the pier for a while to hear what the guards were talking about. That's how I got the information on the battle fleet coming.
But how did you come aboard here? That's what I can't see.
Well, when you were all looking forward, at the lock gates opening into the island, I sneaked along the deck and in here. I was afraid to attract your attention for fear you'd give me away.
Then, when the mast was knocked over on the cabin roofs, you put out the light so we could enter the cabin without exposing you. That was very clever, Captain.
It was wonderful, Tex. And now we're all together again.
Yeah, we're all together again. But I got a sneaking notion our troubles are getting ready to get together, too.
What's up, kid?
Well, for one thing, the radio's smashed.
How much damage was done?
You mean when the mast fell and broke your antenna cables?
Yes, Joan. That wouldn't hurt the set here any. But without an aerial, and shielded by this metal lock, I'm afraid we haven't much of a radio left.
G-47 and his transmission engineers do not use aerials. Yet their apparatus will send and receive messages much farther than your equipment.
Sure. They build their sets to work without aerials, and they've got electricity to burn. We've only got portable stuff.
Well, turn it on, Jerry. Open it wide now and leave it hot. We might pick up something to listen to.
Okay, I'll warm it up. But I looked at the winding, and this set wasn't made to do much without an aerial.
What does that mean, Joan, dear? That was the alarm gong, wasn't it?
Yes, Mother. That means to stand by all stations. I think they will submerge the island now.
Will it affect us any in this lock?
I think not. At least not until the oxygen supply is turned on. Then the air will feel sharp when you inhale it. That will be the only thing noticeable, I'm sure.
How deep will we go, dear?
I think to the bottom, if we are to clear heavy ships.
And how far down is the bottom?
The island can be submerged to more than half its own depth. The airlock in the ocean floor is 60 feet deep, and the island is only 100 feet in height. So if we submerge completely, the surface of the island will be 50 to 60 feet below the waterline.
That sounds mighty big to us, Joan. I'd like to see it done.
Would they allow that, do you think, dear?
I have seen it many times. Most of the locks have one transparent wall, so that you may look out into the water and study the natural life on the ocean floor.
I got the set hot, Tex, but nothing doing. I've tried every wavelength. Got it on Johnson now. But I can't even raise a signal from any of those boats around us here.
Well, we better go to work on that set, kid. Our only hope is to have some way of hearing from Johnson when the pigeon gets to his boat.
That is the signal to submerge. Now the island will sink slowly into the sea, and in a few moments we will be many feet below the surface of the ocean.
That signal has a heavy, resonant, vibrating quality. Mightn't it be heard for many miles around?
I wondered about that, too, Pat. Those battleships have plenty of underwater ears. They can hear a sub a long way off.
No, Captain. The Euclideans have controlled that in some way. The sound stops at the magnetic ring and does not rise above the surface of the island.
Old G47 sure thinks of everything, and then some.
I wish we could see what's going on. It would be wonderful to look up through the water and see a fleet maneuver from below.
What's that for, June?
The island has sunk to the first level, 10 feet below the water. That would mean that the little steel control chambers you saw on top of the island are just going underwater now.
They didn't get under any too soon, either. Those ships must be within 20 miles of here by now.
Come in. Oh, you. I might have known it.
Gee whiz, now the cat's out of the bag.
Tex, you shouldn't have said come in so carelessly.
You need not reproach the captain. I have known for some time he was aboard.
I should have thought of that. Of course you knew it when you could not find him swimming near the island.
Precisely.
What do you want here?
Nothing. Here. You will come with me, Captain Bradford. You also, Cleostra. Follow me immediately.
Are you going to show them something?
No. I am going to put them where they can see nothing.
Was that the second level? Are we now 20 feet below the sea?
Precisely. Captain, Cleostra, come quickly.
And what if we don't care to come?
Captain, do you not see that ray gun in his hand? We will do as you wish, G47.
Joan's right, Tex. Jerry and I will be all right here. Go with him and do as he says.
That's the spirit, Mrs. Gregory. They can't scare us.
You make up in stupidity what you lack in fear. Go. I will follow you.
Keep your chin up, Pat. Take care of her, Jerry. Mm-hmm. Come on, Joe.
Yes, Captain. We will go.
I might remind you, Mrs. Gregory, that I expect you and this young fool to remain quietly on the yacht. Your friends will return when I have finished with them.
Jerry, what's he going to do with Tex and Joan?
Now, don't worry, Mrs. Gregory. He's not going to do anything to them. Only put them where they can't see what's going on.
But why them and not us?
Well, he figures you and I ain't any too heavy on brains, I guess.
Why, Jerry.
Well, I mean, he's afraid Joan will get a chance to do something because she knows all about this island. And he knows Tex is liable to see some way to get an alarm to those boats. I guess he thinks you and I just sit in here and cry.
The third level. This is quite an experience, Jerry.
Plenty for me. But what I'm most worried about is that this radio won't work. And I got a notion there's nothing wrong with the set. It's all in the aerial. And this steel lock isn't helping me any.
What was that?
The anchor chain ran out and dropped the stern hook on the steel floor of this lock.
Of course. The skipper must have released it in trying to clear away the broken mast.
Well, it won't hurt anything.
J12C calling J24Y.
It's Johnson.
The set's working again. Listen.
Nothing more, Jerry.
Well, never mind. We'll keep the set open. Maybe he'll come in again.
Now we're down to the fourth level, Jerry. There should be only one more of those alarms.
Yeah. I wonder where G47 took Joan and Captain Bradford.
J12C calling J24Y. J12C standing by. We'll stay here indefinitely. Standing by. J12C will repeat every quarter hour. J12C, J24Y. That is all.
Oh, Jerry, he's standing by. Johnson's arrived at the position north of us.
Then he's within range of the pigeon Tex sent off. That's swell. All we gotta do now is hang on and wait. Oh, how about it?
Can't do any harm, Jerry.
Come in.
Oh, come on in, Skipper, and close the door.
Aye.
What's on your mind, Skipper?
Anchor.
Yes, Skipper, we heard it drop. Did it do any damage?
Radio.
What about the radio?
Aerial.
Was the aerial tangled in the anchor chain?
Aye.
Gosh, then thanks for letting the anchor run out and hitting the bottom.
Why?
Because we didn't have any aerial at all till that happened.
Don't you see, Skipper? The anchor's the aerial now. It's touching the bottom of this steel lock, and the aerial's mixed up with it. Leave that anchor on the bottom, Skipper, and the aerial wire mixed up with the chain. We've got this whole island for an aerial now.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Herbert Calkins has a new experiment to try on Clark Kent. And unbeknown to the Man of Steel, he has enlisted the aid of none other than the girl reporter, Lois Lane.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know what happens to fellas and girls who take time to eat a solid sort of breakfast, the kind experts recommend? Well, watch them tick off every vacation day in the snappy mood that makes for a good time. And, gang, you know what's the nifty appetite tickler that looks so good you want to eat hearty come breakfast time? Why, it's Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Yes, sir, those golden toasted flakes of sun-ripened whole wheat sure do give your appetite the old 1-2. And when you really dig in, Kellogg's Pep tastes just as slick as it looks. Smooth sunshine flavor, tender crispness, mighty terrific eating. One look at Pep's golden goodness, one taste of that knockout whole wheat flavor, and you're all set to polish off every last spoonful in your bowl. And nothing could be smarter nowadays when it's not a good idea to waste cereal, because the cereal grains have been picked out to give that swell grain nourishment to fellows and girls overseas. So latch on to Kellogg's Pep, gang. When Mom brings Pep home from the grocer's, make sure it's not wasted. Handle with care is the idea if you pour your own cereal, and eat up every bit you pour out. Tip off the rest of your family, too. Just remember, eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Convinced after long and arduous research that Clark Kent is Superman, Herbert Calkins, one of Scotland Yard's most famous detectives, now retired, has come to America to prove it. Kent, shocked by the detective's bold accusation, narrowly escaped the first trap set for him by Calkins. But the English sleuth then enlisted the aid of Lois Lane in arranging another trap, which he confidently said would prove definitely that Superman and Kent were one and the same person. As we continue the next morning, Lois is in her office at the Daily Planet, reporting to Calkins by telephone. Listen.
It's all set, Mr. Calkins. I stopped at the Metropole.
Please don't mention names over the telephone, Miss Lane.
Oh, well, I stopped at the you-know-what on my way to the office, and I had a long talk with Mr. you-know-whom. It's in the bag.
I beg your pardon?
I mean, he said he'd cooperate with us.
Oh, I say that's capital. And by this evening, then, we shall have conclusive proof to confirm my claims.
And I'll have the scoop of the century. I still can't make myself believe it, but... Oh, here he comes now. I'll have to hang up.
Right, all right. We'll meet at 5, then.
Check. And thank you very much for calling, Mrs. Papopoulos. Good morning, Clark.
Good morning, Lois.
Good morning.
Who's Mrs. Papopoulos?
Mrs. Who?
Mrs. Papopoulos had a very masculine voice.
Really?
Yes.
And how would you know that, Clark?
How? Oh, why...
You came into the office when I was hanging up. You couldn't possibly have heard Mrs. Papopoulos.
Well...
Or has your association with Superman given you super hearing?
What do you mean by that?
Who, me? Oh, I don't mean anything. Or do I?
You're acting very strangely this morning, Lois.
I was just going to say the same thing about you, Clark. You seem so jittery. Is anything wrong?
Wrong?
Yes, wrong.
No, of course not. Everything's fine. Look, Mr. Calkins didn't happen to call up for me, did he?
How would I know? Why don't you ask the switchboard operator?
I did. She said no. But I thought since you met Mr. Calkins yesterday, he might have left a message with you.
Oh, I don't seem to remember any.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
All right, thanks. I'll see you later, Lois.
Would you like to leave a message in case Mr. Calkins does call while you're out?
No, thanks. I expect to be in my office all day.
He does seem worried. Can it be that Mr. Calkins is right? That Clark is Superman? I can hardly wait until this evening to find out.
Say, Mr. Kent, have you seen Miss Lane this morning?
Yes, Jim, why?
Well, did she seem kind of, goofy to you?
Goofy?
Yeah, wacky, giddy. I think the heat's got her.
What makes you say that?
Well, she's been making the dopiest remarks all morning. About you.
About me?
Uh-huh. Well, like just before, when I asked her if she'd seen you, she said, oh, maybe he's up at the North Pole, cooling off.
Oh, she was probably just kidding, Jim.
Maybe, but before you got in this morning, her typewriter went on the blink. I called up the repair people for her, and they said they couldn't get another machine down for a couple of hours because the truck had already gone out. You know what she said to me then?
Oh, what?
She said, too bad Clark isn't here. He could bring me that typewriter in 2 seconds.
What?
That's what she said. And I said, who do you think Mr. Kent is, Superman?
Uh-huh. What did she say then?
Well, she just gave out with a silly little laugh. I tell you, the heat's got her, Mr. Kent.
So are Mr. Calkins.
Mr. who?
A mutual friend. They must have had a talk about me, and I don't like this, Jim.
You don't like what?
Our British friend is dangerous enough alone. Too dangerous. Now with Lois to help him.
Help who? What British friend? What are you talking about?
I think a brief leave of absence is indicated.
Hey, has the heat got you, too?
Could be, Jim. The heat's on me, plenty. I hate to run away, but I'll see you later, Jim.
Mr. Calkins?
Yes?
This is Lois Lane. Listen, I've got bad news for you. Clark Kent is going away.
Really? Where's he going?
I don't know, but he just talked Mr. White into giving him a vacation. He said he needed a rest.
Oh, you can't let him go, Miss Lane.
How can I stop him?
Find a way. You're a bright young woman.
Well, that's an easy thing to say, but
Well,
I don't know.
There must be a way, by Jove. Something about the newspaper, perhaps a story.
Oh, wait a minute. I just thought of something that should work. I've got to rush before he gets away. I'll call you back later. Bye.
Yes. I'm sorry, Kent, but I'll have to ask you to put off your vacation for a couple of days.
Why? What's wrong?
Lois just got a tip on a big story in Willow Falls. Has to rush right up there. She'll be gone in a day or two.
What?
Vacations have us short-handed right now, so I can't have you both out of the office at the same time. You understand.
Oh, yes, of course. Tell me, Chief, who gave her this tip?
Some friend of hers who lives up there, she said.
Funny, it's the first I hear of Lois having friends in Willow Falls.
So what? Do you know everything, Kent?
Well, no, but it's just that this looks fishy to me.
What does?
Lois' sudden trip to Willow Falls. After the thing she said to Jim this morning.
Now, what's Jim got to do with it?
Oh, nothing. But I've got a hunch that Calkins has.
And now it's Calkins. And who's he?
Yes, I may be wrong. This could be on the level.
Will you please tell me what in thunder you're talking about?
What? Oh, sorry. Nothing, Chief. Nothing. I guess I'm just a little upset about delaying my vacation. But I'll stand by till Lois gets back, of course.
Oh, fine. Oh, by the way, Tony Sloan brought in a copy of the agreement the city made with the traction company. I want you to pick it up and deposit it in our safety vault tonight on your way home.
The what? Oh, yes, the vault. Sure. Okay, Chief.
Hey, you're not yourself, Kent. I guess you do need a vacation. I'll tell you what. You go home early. I'll go to the vaults, but... No, I can't. I've got an appointment with our publisher.
Oh, don't worry about it, Chief. It's all right. I'll go to the vaults. See you tomorrow.
Worried as to what Herbert Calkins and Lois Lane may be up to, Kent returns to his desk. Meanwhile, Lois and Herbert Calkins are in the Metropolis Safety Vault Company's underground vaults, speaking to the husky uniformed guard.
Now, you know exactly what you're to do, my man.
Sure, you've told me fair 100 times, Mr. Calkins. So how could I be forgetting?
Very good. Now then, here's $100, lad.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And there'll be another 100 later if the job's done properly.
It'll be done to perfection, sir.
Look, it's 5:15. It's almost time, Mr. Calkins.
Righto. Come away then, Miss Lane.
We'll be in the guard room at the end of the hall there, Murphy. Come to us as soon as it's done.
That I will, sir.
Now, Miss Lane, in a short time you'll see Clark Kent reveal himself as Superman.
Eagerly, Lois Lane accompanies Herbert Calkins to the guard's room at the end of the line of vaults. What is the ex-Scotland Yard detective's plan to reveal Clark Kent's identity as Superman? We'll know in a moment when we return for the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Now I'll flash you the latest rave in the breakfast department. It's this week's Pep Dish of the Week, a Pep Double Scoop. And confidentially, it's something you wouldn't want to miss for anything. On account of, it's terrific. Sure, just listen to how to make it. You pour your serving of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, into your bowl. Scoop out a little hollow on each side and fill in with juicy red raspberries. Add milk and sugar and pitch right into your Pep Double Scoop. And will your spoon scoop up some smooth eating? What those crisp, delicate flakes of Pep do for the red, ripe raspberries is something strictly special. And that's because Pep always comes through with its catchy golden sunshine flavor. So good, it always leaves you surprised you finished all there was in your bowl so soon. And you know, eating your dish clean is the smart thing to do these days. You don't want to waste one single bit of cereal, because whole wheat is one of the cereal grains picked out to go to fellas and girls around the world. So get hep to Pep. When Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, make sure it's not wasted. Handle with care is the idea. If you pour your own cereal, pour it carefully and polish off every bit you pour out. Just remember, eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Unaware that he is walking into a trap, Clark Kent has arrived at the Metropolis Safety Vault Company, carrying a briefcase containing important Daily Planet documents. Escorted by Mike Murphy, the guard, he is now approaching the Planet Vault, the huge round steel door of which stands open.
I don't think we have any help to carry in that briefcase, will you now, Mr. Kent?
Hardly, Murphy. I'll just leave it in here.
And you'll be staying in there with it. Mr. Calkins, Miss Lane.
What happened, Murphy?
He's in there.
He is? He is.
Yes. Sure, and I caught him neat as a fox in a trap, I
You
did.
did?
He just walked into the vault and bingo. I slammed the door, turned the dials, and there he'll stay until morning when the time clock opens the vault.
Until dawn? Until morning? Why, he'll smother to death.
Don't worry, Miss Lane. Here, Murphy.
But, Mr. Calkins...
Here's the other 100 I promised you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Now, no one else will be coming into the vaults tonight, will they?
No, sir. I'll be closing up right now. I'll see you later.
Very good.
But, Mr. Calkins, Murphy said the vault can't be opened until morning. Clock will smother. You promised me he wouldn't be in any danger.
He won't be. The vault will be opened in 2 hours for the emergency squad.
Oh.
Unless Superman opens it before then.
You mean if Clark is Superman?
Exactly. If he gets out of that vault before we let him out, we'll know he's Superman. Since no other human being can break through 6 feet of solid steel.
Heavens, no. But suppose he doesn't choose to break out. Then we won't know any more than we do now.
Oh, yes, we will. No normal man, strong as he is, can retain consciousness in that airtight vault longer than 2 hours.
Oh?
So if Kent is still in the vault when it's opened but is not overcome, we'll know he's Superman.
Suppose he pretends to be overcome.
I'd arrange for a doctor to be here to make sure. Either way, Miss Lane, we win. At the end of 2 hours, we'll know for certain whether Kent is or is not Superman. And I'm wagering he is.
This is one trap, says Scotland Yard's ace detective, that Superman cannot escape. Is he right? Is the long-cherished and carefully guarded secret of Superman's double identity to be revealed at last? It certainly seems that way, despite Superman's own wits and great powers. Can you see any way for him to escape, revealing his identity? Be sure to listen tomorrow to find out what happens. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, here's a winner in your list of famous names. It's Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Kellogg, as in Kellogg shredded wheat. What a treat for breakfast. Plump, tender biscuits of whole wheat, toasted just right. Full of natural nut-sweet flavor, too. And are they crisp? And here's what else you get in Kellogg shredded wheat. Grand whole wheat nutrition. Biscuits made to fit the bowl. And 15 biscuits in every package. Tell Mom you'd like Kellogg shredded wheat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
If you really want to know what happened, Inspector, ask Toby. Yes, Toby, who is only a ventriloquist dummy, but who knows more than you think. If you want to hang me, let him be a witness.
Out of this world. Columbia's parade of outstanding stories of those moments when reality turns to illusion, when fancy becomes fact, sharp, shocking fact. Tonight, a remarkable adventure from the successful English motion picture Dead of Night. A story which for the next half hour will take you out of this world.
Here now, Tompkins, here now. Enough of that noise. You're disturbing all the other prisoners.
God, tell me where, Toby. What have they done with my Toby?
So it's Toby again, is it? Now stop all that fuss about the dummy. I warned you before, any more noise and that's solitary confinement for you.
But I must see Toby. Oh, God, I'll pay you anything if you bring Toby to me.
You ventriloquist, a queer one. All this fuss about a talking doll.
He's not a talking doll. Don't you understand? He's... Toby. Where is he? What happened to him?
How should I know? Probably safe enough. The inspector will take care of him.
Well, you tell the inspector to send Toby back to me. Back to me, do you hear? Tell him I want Toby and I want him right now.
Sure. Inspector Dodds will be happy to do anything you say.
You're an impertinent fellow.
You're a rough one, all right. You're just lucky I ain't in here for murder. Lucky that fella Laswell you shot is coming along, all right.
Laswell? Whatever happens to him makes no difference to me. I wish he was dead. He tried to steal Toby from me.
Now, ain't that a pretty thing to say? Ain't you a
charge? I'm sorry I caused you any trouble. All I want is one favor. Please. Go to the inspector, go to somebody, go to anybody and tell them that I've got to see Toby. I've got to see Toby.
He's raising a devil of a row down in the hills. Keeps yelling he wants his dummy brought back to him.
I see. Well, if letting Tompkins have the dummy will keep him quiet, perhaps we can arrange it.
Oh, good heavens, sir. Was that him there, in the chair?
Huh? Oh, yes, that's Toby.
How cool. Sits up in the chair real lifelike, don't he, Inspector? Amazing, ain't it?
It's fantastic that a man can be attached to such a thing.
Queer how Tompkins keeps saying, if you want to know why he shot Laswell, ask the dummy. He's an odd one, all right. Imagine asking anything from the likes of this. Such a blank, idiotic little face he's got. So you're Toby, are you? So it's you that's responsible for all the trouble I'm having with your master today. Poor Mr. Tompkins. If I wasn't a mild man, I'd change that smelly smirk on your face. I'd give you a real sad look, I would, with my
All
fist.
right, now hold on there. Do you think that stick of wood will answer you?
Eh? Oh.
You know very well only a ventriloquist can make a dummy talk.
Now, sorry, sir. I guess I did look a bit foolish.
Yes, so before we all do, we'd better get to the bottom of this. God, bring Tompkins up here. Time we had a little talk. Tompkins, if I promise that Toby will soon be returned to you, will you cooperate with me?
Toby? Is he here? Is he near me here?
Yes. But you can't see him
Oh,
yet.
but I must see him, Inspector.
You will, but not before I have certain facts.
Certain facts?
About your quarrel with Mel Laswell. Now, if you tell me the whole story, I may be able to help you.
Help me? Why? Why should the police help me?
Because it's part of my job.
Yes, but you've done your job. I've admitted I shot Laswell. I did it. What else matters?
Your motive.
He tried to steal Toby from me. Isn't that motive enough?
Tompkins, I really can't understand you.
Understand? Of course you can't understand. I wouldn't expect you to. You've never spent years, endless years, playing shoddy, cheap music halls, starving out at the elbow because you couldn't find a partner who understood you. You never toiled day and night for weeks on end, creating somebody like Toby who could go to the big time with you. Oh, Toby could tell you what it's been like, all right.
Unfortunately, Tompkins, Toby has shown no inclination to speak to me as yet.
Toby would appreciate that, Inspector. Yes, indeed he would. Where is he? What have you done with him?
You'll see him soon enough, I promise you. But first, I want to know what makes you think Mel Laswell tried to steal Toby.
Oh, I was aware of Laswell's intentions right from the start, Inspector. Even before I met him. I had a premonition that somebody might separate me from Toby. I couldn't stand that. I'm as much to him as he to me.
I see, yes.
When I met Laswell at the club that night, I realized almost at once that he might be the one to cause the trouble. I suppose you've seen Laswell. You know the sort he is. Regular troublemaker.
Yes, Tompkins, I've seen him. Now come to the point.
Well, as I intimated before, Toby and I have been playing all the better music halls for the last few years. Top billing, you know. And then we got our engagement at the Kit Kat, West End nightclub. That's about as high as Toby and I, or any act for that matter, can go. We were standing backstage, waiting for the dance act to finish their turn. It's only a standard act, not particularly hard for us to follow. And then Bigelow, the master of ceremonies, came along.
Glad to see you're ready to go, Tompkins. You're on as soon as they finish the waltz.
We know our act, Mr. Bigelow.
Well, just so you know yours as well.
Not Toby.
Well, I don't want him to forget to take the chair out tonight.
I have the chair right here. Now, don't worry. It won't happen like it did last night.
And do us the favor of getting off the floor when you've introduced us. You messed up the whole first part of our act standing behind us.
Here, now, don't say that. After all, it was your opening night, and how was I to know your act?
You did it deliberately. You were trying to cut in on our laughs.
Look here, I don't have to take this kind of stuff.
Toby, that was not at all professional. Mr. Bigelow, I apologize, since Toby doesn't seem to have the grace to do it.
Very well, I accept it. Huh? Well, well, now, what do you think of that? I was letting you take me in, Tompkins. Do you see if I don't get to thinking that dummy is a living thing?
Bigelow is a terrible ass, isn't he, Tompkins?
By Jove, it's remarkable. Tremendously real, you know, the illusion.
Oh, rot.
Oh, by the way, you'll want to be particularly good this evening. You have a rival out there.
Who?
Laswell. Mel Laswell, the American. The ventriloquist from the States.
Laswell?
Oh, don't tell me you haven't heard him on the wireless. Here, look. Have a look. He's at the front table over to the left.
Oh, yes. Yes, I see him.
And who's the gorgeous young lady?
His wife. He's awfully good. World's greatest ventriloquist, I've heard say.
I like her.
Don't you recognize press agentry, Bigelow? He may be the best, and again, he may not be the best.
And you're pretty jealous, aren't you, Tompkins?
I'm nothing of the sort.
In fact, you'll feel more uncomfortable than ever tonight working in front of a real artist.
Now, see here, Toby.
But as usual, I'll carry you along.
You'll carry me. I'll have you know I carry this out.
Please, both of you.
Stay out of this, fat mouth.
Now, see here, joke's a joke, but when you use... By George, you took me up the road again, Tompkins. I thought you and this wooden imp were rowing. As though he were human. Imagine me thinking he's actually human.
Stop blabbering, Rubber. Let's get out there and bring us on.
Yes, of course.
And don't forget the chair.
Oh, yeah, wait. Oh, here it is. Look, I'm going to introduce Laswell before I bring you off.
Must you?
Peter, that's right. Give the boy and girl a great big hand. The finest dance seen in all the United Kingdom. And now, ladies and gentlemen, and visiting royalty, before I present to you our next little feature, I'd like to call on a distinguished variety artist who is here tonight. You've all heard him on the American wireless and seen him in the American cinema. Mel Laswell. I ask Mel Laswell to stand up and enjoy that well-known tit-tat hospitality. I'm sure that beautiful woman he's with is a much happier burden on his knee than Mickey O'Toole, whom you've seen so many times. Stand up, Melvin Laswell. And now I want to bring on an act the like of which Mr. Laswell has never seen. Our own British ventriloquist, Eric Thompson, and his talking timber, Toby!
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Hey, Tompkins, go easy on that morning stuff.
How come, Toby?
Well, that man over there looks like the truant officer.
Why, that shouldn't bother you, Toby. You've been a very good boy, haven't you?
Why, yes, but I'm out of school.
Out of school? Why?
Appendicitis.
Out of school because you have appendicitis?
No, not because I had it, but because I couldn't spell it.
Now, Toby, my lad, you'd better watch that appendix of yours. After all, people die of appendicitis, you know. And then you'd be a skeleton. I'll bet you don't even know what a skeleton is.
Get a good grip on your nose, darling. That guy's got the worst material in the British Isles.
No, what a
Please,
skeleton
now,
is.
act as though you're enjoying this. People are watching
Well,
you.
then, what is a skeleton?
A skeleton is a lot of bones with all the people scraped off.
You know, Toby, I saw a very strange thing the other day. Toby, are you listening to me? I said I saw a very strange thing the other day.
All right, you saw a very strange thing the other day.
I don't blame the dummy
Go
for being
on,
embarrassed.
my monster.
Now, here, Toby, that's not a proper attitude for a bright man like you. I said I saw a strange thing the other day. 12 men standing under one umbrella, and not one of them got wet.
And not one of them got wet. Now, I know the payoff to this gag, but I won't say it. And Mr. Laswell knows too, don't you, Mr. Laswell?
What goes on here now?
Come now, Mr. Laswell, I know you do. You give the answer.
Toby, please.
Please, darling, this is embarrassing.
Well,
Say
Mr.
something.
Laswell,
If this guy keeps riding me, I will get into
this
his act.
dummy's dummy says that he saw 12 men under one umbrella and not one of them got wet. Why not, Mr. Laswell?
Because it wasn't raining.
Correct, because it wasn't raining. Now, you see, Tompkins, everybody knows your joke. I'm humiliated, actually humiliated to be up here with a third-rate ventriloquist like you.
Well, if you don't like your material, why don't you try rewriting it?
Rewrite it? Did you ever hear of anybody going into St. Paul's and offering to rewrite the Bible?
Then just what do you propose to do about it?
I'd go to work for Mr. Laswell in a minute if he'd have me. Melvin, may I work for you?
No, let's go.
Wait, Claudia.
May I, Mr. Laswell?
Well, I pay Mickey O'Toole 75 cents a week. He'll wind up in my fireplace if you'll work for 50.
I'd work for nothing. Just to hear that beautiful woman beside you.
Toby, that's the Emperor wife.
I don't care. I mean it. Ladies and gentlemen, you think this is part of the act, but it isn't. I think that Mr. Laswell is the greatest ventriloquist in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, please don't blame me for this. It's Laswell. He's speaking all this through Toby. He's trying to steal Toby away from me.
Mel, is that true? Do you have something to do with it?
Relax, honey. Get the rest of this routine.
I'm being quite sincere, Mr. Laswell. I'll work for you, and you won't have to pay me a tuppence.
Mel, are you speaking through Toby?
Well, Mr. Laswell, will you take me on?
Watch him try to get out of this one, Claudia. I'm thinking about it, Toby.
Oh, Mel.
Toby, either you behave yourself or I'll take you off the floor.
That's right. Just when I'm about to get a good job, call the MC back, tell him you want to run away and hide. Come on out, Bigelow. Tompkins needs your help.
All right. Just as you say, Tompkins. That's all, and thank you for this little impromptu surprise.
Oh, brother, it's about time the MC took
It's
over.
all part of the show, friends. All part of the
Let go of me, Bigelow.
I give him a nice hand here.
You the man for Katie! And that's how I knew, Inspector. But Laswell had taken more than casual notice of Toby. Oh, I could have forgiven him for his interference on the floor of the club. That might have been mere professional discourtesy. But there was something else in Laswell's attitude that made me fear the man. It was his personal interest in Toby. Oh, he wanted to separate us. I became certain of this later when he came back to my dressing room pretending friendliness.
Anyone in there?
Who is it?
Mel Laswell, Tompkins.
Mr. Laswell. Well?
Oh, how do you do? You mind if we come in for a moment?
All right. Please do.
This is my wife, Mr. Tompkins.
Mrs. Laswell.
Mr. Tompkins?
Won't you sit down? Throw those dressing gowns on the floor.
Thank you.
Well, so this is your boy. Nice carving job.
I'm very handsome. Don't you think so, Mrs. Laswell?
Well, you certainly are, Toby.
Tompkins, I've been curious to know who made him for you.
Don't put your hands on him.
Oh, well,
I prefer that you left Toby alone.
Well, certainly you needn't worry. I'm quite handy with dummies myself. You certainly surprised me with that little act out front.
Your own part in it surprised me, Mr. Laswell.
Oh, believe me, Tompkins, I never
You needn't
intended
explain
to.
anything, Mr. Laswell.
You see, Mr. Laswell, Tompkins' attitude requires some sympathy. He's quite aware he's not our equal.
Keep quiet, Toby.
Tompkins, how far does this gag go?
That depends on you, Mr. Laswell, and on just why you came to my dressing room.
Oh, only professional courtesy.
If you've come to make some sort of a bargain for Toby, I am not going to permit it.
Now, wait, Mr. Tompkins.
I will not have it.
Yes, wait, Tompkins.
I will not permit it.
Whatever the Laswells have to say to me is my affair. You might even pretend you're a gentleman and make a graceful expert.
Toby, if you're trying to make me look ridiculous...
I'm succeeding. Yes, I know. Now go on over behind the screen and get your makeup off.
Very well, Toby, but I warn you...
Beat it. Pay no attention to him, Mrs. Laswell. I don't.
Well, I don't understand.
This fellow's amazing.
Not at all. He's stupid, really. Constantly interfering in my affairs. Mrs. Laswell, now that we're alone, may I tell you something? Something I'm sure you've heard before.
What is it, Toby?
That you're very beautiful. That I'm very fond of you, Mrs. Laswell.
Oh, now, look here.
And whatever Tompkins thinks, Mrs. Laswell, you're really a very nice woman.
Well, I'll be...
No, I don't like this.
Tompkins.
Yes?
Come out here.
Well, what is it?
How far do you want to carry a joke?
A joke?
Either you apologize to Mrs. Laswell right now...
Apologize? For what?
For the last crack you just made through Toby.
Did I?
Listen, you...
Really, Mr. Laswell, I don't know what you're talking about.
Mel, darling, let's get out of here.
You're not going to leave me, are you, Mr. Laswell? Please don't.
You're an awfully funny fellow, Tompkins.
Don't blame me for all this.
Take me with you, Mr. Laswell. I just want to be near her. If you're afraid I'll make love to her, you needn't worry. I wouldn't.
Tompkins, this is the most disgraceful demonstration I've ever heard.
What can I do about him?
Mel, please, come on.
I love her. I'll do anything if you'll just let me go with you, Mr. Laswell. Anything.
All right, Tompkins, you ask for it.
Oh, no, Mel, don't hit him. Don't hit him. Oh, Mel, why did you do it? The man's not natural.
Yeah, now, what's going on?
I don't know what's eating that fellow. A rib's a rib, but he doesn't know where to stop. I guess he got the last laugh on me, making me lose my temper.
Yes, well, he doesn't seem to be doing much laughing.
He's all right?
He's a bit done in. Can't say he didn't have it coming, though.
Oh, darling, I'm glad he didn't break the dummy when he fell.
Then you do care what happens to me. I love you, Mrs. Laswell.
So you see, Inspector, I should have known then that I couldn't prevent Laswell getting Toby. I knew they'd be plotting, the two of them.
I see. One question, Mr. Tompkins.
Yes.
Would you say that Mrs. Laswell is an exceptionally attractive woman?
To some men, perhaps.
And since we know that you think and speak through the dummy, isn't it just possible that you may yourself find Mrs. Laswell appealing?
Oh, what is this rubbish you're talking? Are you interested in learning the truth of what happened, or are you trying to muzzle me up?
I'd like to hear the matter out, Mr. Tompkins.
As you well know, I was sacked by the Kit Kat on the spot. I hardly spoke to Toby all the way home. I wanted to impress upon him the misfortune he'd caused us. And at first I hoped that Toby's attentions to Mrs. Laswell had embarrassed them both so much that Laswells would no longer feel any interest in him. But in my heart I knew the Laswells hadn't finished, that at that very moment they must have been plotting their next move to get Toby away from me. I'll tell you what that next move was. In our hotel, I carefully turned the key in the lock. Toby and I were secured for the night. I put him in his own little bed and then made ready for bed myself. As I moved around the room, his eyes followed me scornfully. Then I thought of the revolver in my bag. I took it out. With the revolver in my right hand and the key in my left, I lay down on the bed and waited. I dozed off. I don't know for how long. Then suddenly I was awake, my eyes staring. Toby was gone.
What is it?
Laswell, I want to talk to you.
No, be careful. It's Tompkins. The door isn't locked.
Where is Toby?
Get out, Tompkins.
I've come for Toby. Where is he? You've stolen Toby from me, and I want him back.
I don't know what you're talking about, but if you're referring to your dummy, I haven't seen him. Now, get out. Oh.
No.
What's wrong, dear?
On the floor. On the floor at the foot of my bed.
Toby. Toby, there you are. I found you. Oh, my poor little Toby, you've been kidnapped.
Look, Tompkins, I don't know how your dummy got here.
Toby. Toby, speak to me. Wake up, Toby.
Look, Mel, look how he's shaking that awful thing as though he's trying to waken it.
Oh, you're not deceiving me, Toby. You know very well I'm here.
Go away and leave me alone. I'm through with you, Tompkins.
Oh, take it easy, Claudia. We've had all we can take of this, Tompkins.
Are you going to deny you stole Toby from me?
I certainly am. Look here, man. You're mad. You're ill.
Ill, am I? You took Toby from me and you say I'm ill?
I didn't take Toby. You brought the dummy here. You must have brought it here. Well, maybe while you were walking in your sleep, but you brought it here. I'm going to prove it.
Stay away from the phone.
No, he has a gun.
You can shoot if you like, but I'm going to prove to you that... Hello. Hello, give me the desk clerk, please.
Tompkins, I won't go with you. I'm going to stay with her forever. If Mr. Laswell will let me.
Clerk, this is Mr. Laswell in 722. I want to know if someone came to my room a few hours ago.
Is this some sort of trick?
A man came, you say, and he was carrying a ventriloquist dummy. You let him come up. Did you hear that, Tompkins?
I'm not deceived by this.
Will you describe the man for me, please?
No, you're a devil, Laswell. You stole Toby from me, now you're trying to drive me mad.
Well, here, take the phone.
No, I won't take it! You're tricking me again!
No, be careful!
Well, you won't succeed this time! No, I don't deny that I shot Laswell, Inspector, but I believe the provocation was ample. I dare say you would agree. After all, Laswell turned a friend against me. An old and a very valued friend. Whom I miss very much.
Tompkins, in due time, I may ask you to sign a formal confession on the basis of the story you've just told me.
No objection. I'll sign it. Oh, by the way, Inspector, I wonder if now you might let me see Toby again.
Well, I'd like to oblige you, but...
It's only for a short while, sir. I thought rather badly about not seeing him, especially after our trouble. And if you're given a little time together, perhaps Toby and I could straighten out our affairs.
Well, if you like, I think I can manage it. Perhaps have him brought down to your cell.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes. Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing Toby again. I am indeed.
And that's the story as Tompkins told it to me, Mr. Laswell.
It's incredible. I had some idea of what was going on in the fellow's mind, but that is...
Mel, I'm so sorry for him.
Just one question, Mr. Laswell. You'll pardon my asking.
Yes?
Did you have anything to do with what's happened to the Kit Kat? I mean, you didn't project your voice through Toby.
Certainly not.
So I thought. This business has me baffled. If I thought Tompkins might be more dangerous than he's already proved.
Well, I'm afraid there is that possibility, Inspector.
Huh?
It may be that Tompkins has become so accustomed to thinking as two persons that the personalities have actually become divided.
Is that possible?
For one man to have two separate and distinct personalities? Yes, that's not rare. Well, I'll admit I've never heard of anything exactly like this business.
What will happen to him now?
It's a battle that Tompkins will have to fight out within himself. As long as he's in that cell without the dummy, he may learn to think for himself as himself again.
Good heavens, man. Look here, I permitted that dummy to be taken to the Tompkins in his cell.
You what?
Tompkins was so keen on having the dummy with him that
Do you think that will harm him?
Well, I don't know, but...
Inspector,
All right, here I am.
It's that Tompkins, sir. Carrying on something awful in his cell.
What's happened?
We put the big doll in with him, like you said, sir, and right off he began arguing with it, carrying on a fight, real lifelike. It's just like two people what hate each other.
Laswell, you were right. Come on, we'd better get to them before it's too late.
Well, all I can say is I knew you'd wind up this way sometime. Put away for keeps, a jailbird.
Oh, Toby, I can't stand you having to talk to me that way. How can you be so ungrateful? I made you everything you are.
Ha! You made me, did you? You were the smallest of the small till I teamed with you.
Have you forgotten that once you were an empty, lifeless stick of wood?
Oh, come off it, Tompkins. You're a regular slush pot of sentimentality.
Please be a little kind to me.
Get away from me. I can't stand the beggar. Why should I have anything to do with you? You've never done anything right. You couldn't even kill Laswell.
Shut up, Toby. Shut up. Don't torture me.
I wish you had killed him, and his wife would belong to me. I could be with her forever.
Oh, you fool. Don't you know that's impossible?
You're just saying that you're jealous because I love her.
Oh, no, I can't stand it. You're a monster. I've got to get rid of you. I've got to kill you, destroy you.
Tompkins, take your hands off me. I'm through with you. Take your hands off.
No. Kill you, you vulgar little swine. Faithful little swine. You beast. Dirty beast, you die. Now talk back to me, you little monster. Now tell me I failed at everything. I've smashed your face.
You can't kill me, Tompkins. No matter how you try, you can't kill me.
Come Toby, what have I done? Toby, I never meant.
Down this way. There we are.
Nell, he smashed the dummy.
Steady, Claudia.
Oh, it isn't real. It can't be.
We didn't reach him in time.
He seems to have fainted.
I guess we better see what we can do for the poor devil.
Certainly made a pile of kindling out of his dummy, didn't he?
Oh, Nell, what'll it do to him when he sees what he's done to Toby?
How is he, Inspector?
He's coming around all right. Tompkins, come out of it, fellow. Everything's going to be all right.
He's reviving. He's opening his eyes.
Come on now, I'll help you sit up. There's a fellow. There, feeling a little better now, aren't we?
Mr. Dodd, he's looking around for the dummy.
Here we are, Tompkins. I guess this is what you're looking for. Your tummy's broken up a bit, but he'll be all right.
He said he'd kill me, but I told him he couldn't. I killed him. Isn't that wonderful, Mrs. Laswell? Tompkins is dead. Now we can be together forever, the three of us. You want me, don't you, Mrs. Laswell? You've got to want me because I think you're beautiful. And I love you, and I'll be your slave always and always.
For the past 30 minutes, CBS has presented Out of This World, bringing you Charles Gussman's adaptation of the motion picture Dead of Night. Barry Kroger was featured as Tompkins and Art Carney as Toby. Original music by Albert Berman. Out of This World is directed by John Mosman for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Rice Chex and Wheat Chex, the bite-sized cereals in the red and white checkerboard packages, present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are walking through a warehouse at the Terra spaceport where two suspected criminals are standing by the controls of a loading train.
That's Zanker, all right, Commander. Yes, I wonder just how much of that cargo up there on the train is stolen. Probably plenty of it. Uh-oh. He sees us. Just a minute, Zanker.
None. Release that holding brake. Drop the load down there.
Look out, Hap. Move!
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, Formula for Crime. The winner by unanimous decision, Rice Chex! Yes, sirree, Space Patrollers, Rice Chex is a 3-count winner. Tops them all 3 ways. Tops for taste. Sunny Gold shredded rice toasted 3 times for that luscious, fresh from the oven flavor. A triple treat, a super treat, out of your breakfast bowl, out of the red and white checkerboard box for snacks. Tops for size. Bite-sized biscuits, modern in design. 3D because they're hollow inside. Filled right up with milk or cream. Streamlined for easy, breezy eating. Tops for get up and go. The kind of get up and go that helps to make you a winner by a wide margin. A real Space Patroller like Commander Corey and Cadet Happy. So, gang, why don't you win with a winner? Start eating Rice Chex right now. For breakfast, out of the bowl. For snacks, out of the box. Be a go-getter. Go get Rice Chex. And for a neat whole wheat treat, go get Wheat Chex. Bite-size and power-rich. A real winner because it's tops for taste, tops for size, tops for get up and go. Look for Rice Chex and Wheat Chex in the red and white checkerboard boxes with the picture of Commander Corey or Cadet Happy on the outside. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, Formula for Crime. Are you in the market for Jupiter Jade? Are you trying to locate a set of Martian silverware? You need a pair of horns from a Venus water buffalo. Then one visit to the office of Interplanet Procurement Corporation will solve your problems. At least so is the claim of Eric Zanker, president of the firm. If you ask Mr. Zanker what channels he uses or what methods he employs to obtain these out-of-the-ordinary items, he will smile mysteriously and murmur something about trade secrets. At this moment, in his office on Terra, Eric Zanker is not smiling, and his tone, as he speaks to chemist Gant Hanlon, is pitched somewhat above a murmur.
You're an idiot, Conlon. If you think the Space Patrol was following you, why did you come here?
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Zanker. Let me finish. I'm only following your orders, Mr. Zanker. You told me to come here and report as soon as I found out how Alpha Chemical was shipping out that vitrolytic acid.
Just be careful, Conlon. Did you get that information?
It's all written down. I've marked the best point in and kept the shipment.
Good. I'll work out a plan of attack later. Now, about this special formula.
Well, one of the lab chemists was working on it several months ago. He's got it locked up.
If it will do what you say it will, we've got to have it at any cost. Can you bribe this girl, this Mardies Rendell?
Let me work on it, Zanker. I'll come up with that.
In the experimental laboratory of the Alpha Chemical Company, Gant Hanlon waits until the other technicians have left. Then he speaks to Martis Rendell.
I'm going to knock off for dinner. How about you, Martis?
No, thanks. I'll work a while longer, Mr. Conlon.
Still the time an hour already. Take 30 minutes. Stockholders of Alpha Chemical will never miss it.
I happen to be interested in this experiment, Mr. Conlon. I can't leave now. I'm right at a critical point in this test.
Yeah, that's the trouble with you, Martis. You're always at a critical point. What about that experiment you were working on 2 weeks ago? You worked night after night on your own time, then shelved it. All that time wasted digging your way into a blind alley.
In pure research, Mr. Conlon, there are no blind alleys. Behind every blank wall is a new truth.
Yeah. And while you're tearing down blank walls, the front office is yelling, "Get on with the project." Discovery of yours. The one you locked up, what was it about?
I'd rather not discuss it right now, Mr. Conlon.
It's a new chemical, one that's embedded in the higher centers of the brain.
Why, isn't it unethical to read someone else's private lab notes, Mr. Conlon?
Look, kid, I'm on your side. You got a gold mine there. Turn it over to the psychiatrist and you can make a fortune.
It hasn't been thoroughly tested. And anyway, I'm working for Alpha Chemical. The discovery isn't mine to sell.
If it belongs to Alpha Chemicals, why don't you turn the data over to the front office? Why hold out on it?
I'm not holding out. I discovered Formula G3...
Formula G3K. What?
I see you know my private code. Well, all right. I discovered Formula G3K by accident while I was working on another project. But it's potentially dangerous. Until I find a way to control its effects, I'm keeping it locked up.
But, Martis, as a scientist, it isn't your responsibility to invent a remedy for the possible bad effects of your discovery.
Is it your responsibility to tell me my responsibility?
Now you're just getting pig-headed. That's the thanks I get for trying to tell you how to mix the
Mr. Conlon, I'm frankly not interested in real money, as you call it. Not on Formula G3K.
I think you really mean that. All right, Martis, be a company girl. Let your brains and youth and good looks boil away in those test tubes and beakers. Someday you'll wish you listened to me. I'm going out to get something to eat.
The following morning in Space Patrol headquarters on Terra, Commander Corey receives a visit from Martis Randall.
Yes, Miss Randall. I've received a report on the fire and explosion in the Alpha Chemical Company lab. Happy you find that delivered. Yes, sir. As I recall, Miss Randall, the report listed the cause as accidental.
That's what the lab superintendent decided, Commander.
And you think differently, Greta?
I don't know. When I came to work this morning and saw the damage, it looked like an accidental fire.
Here it is, Commander. The report says probable cause, defective wiring and temporary test circuit. Failure of thermostat control. Exact cause undetermined due to almost total destruction of laboratory. Signed by your lab superintendent and our inspector.
They could be right. Perhaps I'm making things complicated.
Go on, Miss Randall.
Well, there was a metal cabinet in the lab where I kept some private records and chemicals. The heat had damaged the inside of the cabinet, exploded most of the components.
Yes?
I think something was missing from that cabinet.
Not destroyed by heat, just plain missing.
That's right, Commander. You see, I've been working privately on a substance I call Formula G3K. If used properly by doctors and psychiatrists, it could be of great benefit to science.
How?
It deadens the higher control centers of the brain without affecting the sensory or the motor nervous system. Under the influence of this chemical, a person would behave on a purely emotional basis. He would react according to basic instincts or his conditioned reflexes.
The doctor could tell how a person wants to react, or how he would react if he weren't held back by reason or conscience.
Exactly. It could be a quick way to determine personality conflicts.
You mean if I wanted to slug somebody, I'd go right ahead and do it and not worry about what people would think?
Well, that's a good, rough example.
Naturally, a doctor would never like to get into trouble.
Oh, no. But in the wrong hands, this chemical could be used for evil purposes. Its effects make a person subject to suggestion.
And they do things against their better judgment.
Yes. For a time, their better judgment wouldn't exist. And that's why I kept Formula G3K a secret, until I found a way to control it.
Miss Randall, you think someone may have stolen this formula and started the fire in an attempt to cover up the theft?
Yes, I do.
Who else besides yourself knew about that formula?
One of the lab technicians. Only last night he tried to talk me into selling it. He got rather angry when I refused.
What's this man's name?
Conlon. Gant Conlon. But I have no proof that he did anything wrong.
But don't worry, Miss Randall. We'll check up on Gant Conlon. He's innocent. He hasn't anything to fear.
At the office of the Interplanetary Procurement Corporation, behind locked doors, Gant Conlon shows a notebook to Eric Zanker. Before them, on the desk, is a plastic bottle containing a violet-colored liquid.
Well, there you are, Mr. Zanker. Complete facts of the formula. G3K. How to use it, what it does, and how to make it.
That's fine, Conlon. But will it be missed? That's quite important, you know.
You should see that lab. After I took what I wanted out of the cabinet, I fixed things so that accidental fire would destroy it.
Good. Now, how do we administer this stuff and skip the scientific details?
An ordinary ultrasonic intruder will do the trick. Unless the victim sees the gadget, he won't even know what's happening.
And we'll do anything we tell him after the treatment?
Just read Martis Randall's experiments. Formula G3K will make him tell us anything we want to know or perform any act we suggest right away.
Before we put it into practical use, I want to make a few tests. And Mars will be an ideal place.
Why Mars?
First, because it's several million views from Pori's headquarters here on Terra. Second, because one of my ships is now being loaded at the spaceport. When it's ready to blast off for Mars, we'll be aboard.
Buzz and Happy are walking through warehouse number 5 at the Terra spaceport. Cargo is being hoisted from platforms by giant loading cranes and placed on cargo trucks that will take them to waiting space freighters.
It sure is a busy place, Commander. If the man didn't know his way around, he could get hurt awful easy. Keep inside the yellow line. You'll be okay. This is Section 4 we're passing now. The next one is Xancor. Maybe Martis Randall's suspicions of Conlon weren't wrong after all. Funny that he'd be having so many dealings with Xancor when Conlon's just a lab technician for Alpha Chemical. There's Xancor, Happy, standing on a platform up ahead. While I'm talking to him, you take that list and check the cargo. Yes, sir. With Xancor personally supervising the loading, he's probably got some hijacked stuff in there. One more truckload out to do it, Conlon. Then we can blast off for Mars.
Where's the crane operator?
He's knocked out for a few minutes. Anyway, that's our last load out there.
Hanging from the crane?
Yeah. When the next empty truck pulls out, we lower the load and the job's finished.
Believe me, I'll be glad when we blast off from Mars.
Come. Turn this way, quick. No. Looks like trouble. Here comes Corey and the cadet.
We better get out of here.
Wait. If we run now, they have us for sure.
What are we going to do? Since we aren't here to invite us for a lunch, the officers...
Just take it easy. Look, a few more steps and they'll be right under the crane. There's about 6 tons of cargo out there, right over their heads.
Hank, are you crazy?
Shut up! Get out of the way. All I've got to do is release this holding brake and the load drops.
Look, I'm getting out of this right now. I never figured...
You're in this with me. In a couple of seconds, we'll both get away.
Franco, I want to talk to you.
Here it goes!
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. This is Dick Tufeld reporting on the twin-jet Air Force fighter, the McDonnell Voodoo XF-88A. In a moment, we'll hear from the noted test pilot who flies this plane, Phil Houghton. Speed of the Voodoo is a military secret, but it's plenty fast. Wingspan is 40 feet, length 55, weight 10 tons. And now, Phil Houghton recorded at Lambert Airfield.
After seeing the Voodoo, I guess you know why I like my job. There's one thing about it, though. The test pilot has to stay in good condition, get lots of sleep, and eat good, healthy food. That's why I like rice checks and wheat checks for breakfast. They've got plenty of energy in them, and they really taste well. I think you'll like them, too.
Make sure you stay in condition the way Phil Houghton, J. Ray Donahue, Jr., and other top test pilots do. Every morning, eat a good, nourishing breakfast with rice checks or wheat checks, the cereals that are tops 3 ways. Tops for taste, for size, for real get up and go. That's checks, rice or wheat. Remember, they're tops with America's top pilots. And now back to our Space Patrol adventure, Formula for Crime. Buzz and Happy go to a warehouse at the Terra spaceport, where Xancor is supervising the loading of a spaceship. As the Space Patrollers walk under a loading crane, Xancor releases the holding brake, and the 6-ton load of cargo hurtles down upon them.
That's Xancor, all right. We'll have
Look
to...
out, Hap! Ooh!
Freaking rockets. If you hadn't pushed me out of the way, I'd be under that mess.
You're okay, Hap. Let's get Xancor.
Yes, sir. Hey, he's gone.
He can't be very far away.
What's that?
The emergency alarm.
Somebody must have turned it in when the cargo dropped.
Xancor deliberately tried to drop that load on us.
The whole warehouse is in an uproar. Look, people are rushing in all directions. We'll never find Xancor in this mess.
Get to a phone, Happy. Alert Space Patrol headquarters. Come on.
A few hours later, at Space Patrol headquarters, Buzz and Happy stand by for reports from the Space Patrol agents who are searching the spaceport and other parts of Terra for Zanker and Conlon.
Nothing on either of them yet, Hap.
Zanker must have got away from spaceport before we could alert the guards.
At least they can't leave the planet. Space Control has ordered to have every private freight and passenger ship checked before clearing for blast off. I wonder who it was with Zanker. I don't know. We've got 3 men watching Zanker's office. If he or anybody else shows up, they'll be mad. Space Patrol headquarters, Commander Corey here.
This is Martis Randall. I'm afraid I gave you a wrong lead yesterday in regard to the fire at the laboratory.
About Conlon, you mean?
Yes. He's not the man you're looking for.
Perhaps not, but he keeps some pretty strange company for an honest chemist. How do you know Conlon is in the clear?
I have some new information, Commander.
All right, let's have it.
I can't give it to you over the phone. I'll explain in detail when you get here.
When I get there.
It's very urgent, and I can't come to your office.
Where are you?
At my home, 618 Orion Way. It's just 2 blocks west of Terra Boulevard. I can't possibly tell you any more right now. I just have to talk to you personally. Right away. Another hour may be too late.
All right, Miss Randall. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Corey out.
I wonder what she found out. She didn't sound excited or in danger.
What I've seen of her, Martis Randall seems pretty level-headed and confident. Something's wrong. Better get over there. Have you stay here in case we get a lead on Zanker.
Yes, sir.
I'll check back with you from Miss Randall's case.
Come in, Commander.
Thank you, Miss Randall.
It was good of you to come so quickly.
It certainly was, Commander. Get your hands up.
Thanks.
Yes. Just remember there are 2 ray guns covering you. This one and one in the next room.
What's the setup here, Miss Randall? Are you in with Zanker?
I am the Zanker?
Marty, sit down. Sit down and remain quiet.
Yes, Zanker.
What have you done to her?
Have you ever heard of Formula G3K?
You got her under the influence of that chemical.
Exactly. You're next. Calvin.
Yeah.
Come in here and bring the infuser.
So you're Conlon. You were with Zanker at the warehouse.
That's right, Corey.
I've got quite a score to settle with both of you for what you tried to do to Happy and me.
Conlon, I'll keep him covered while you use the infuser on him.
Roll up your sleeve, Corey. This won't hurt a bit. Come on, let's have that arm.
All right. You're not going to shoot that stuff into me. Zanker, get him off me. Use the ray gun.
No, that's what's putting him out too long. Break loose, Zanker.
Drop that gadget, Conlon. Zanker, do something.
Let him. This jam will slow him down. There.
Nearly broke my wrist.
Never mind that. Pick up the infuser. I want Corey under control when he comes to.
All right. I'm not sure the chemical will work on him.
Of course it will. Now, Martis, you just sit there and keep quiet.
Yes, Zanker.
Corey's arms are ready. Use the infuser.
Okay.
It's very neat, this ultrasonic infuser. Doesn't even break the skin or leave a mark.
I think he's coming to.
Good. We'll give the chemical time to take effect. Then we'll give him his instructions.
Space Patrol headquarters, Commander Corey's office. Cadet Happy here.
Happy, this is Commander Corey.
Yes, sir. Everything all right?
Everything's under control, Happy. Now listen carefully. Go to the spaceport immediately and see that Terra 5 is ready to blast off.
Yes, sir. Where are we going?
I'm going alone, Happy. Just learned something very interesting. I'll tell you about it when I get back.
Fine, Commander.
For the time being, no one is to know about this flight. No one, understand?
Yes, sir.
I'll give special instructions to Space Control when I get to the spaceport. Now, one more thing. I've got an errand for you to run. There are some papers in file H7 on the Henderson case. Take them to the Research Records Division and have 6 microfilm copies made of them.
Research records. That's in the Michelson building on the south side of the city, isn't it?
Right. Wait there until the job's done, then deliver those microfilms to the first 6 addresses on the distribution sheet. Got that?
Yes, sir, but I thought the Henderson case was...
I'm in a hurry, Hap. Just follow orders.
Yes, sir. I'll go to the spaceport right away and check the ship.
Fine, Hap. Corey out.
Half an hour later, at the Terra spaceport, Commander Corey strides toward the Terra 5. With him are 2 men who walk close to Buzz, watching him carefully as he returns the salutes of various Space Patrol personnel. The men engage in light conversation, masking their tenseness, until they board the spaceship and close the hatch.
Well, worst of it's over, Zanker.
Yeah. All right, Corey. Get to the controls and blast off.
I'll check with space control.
You are making a special flight to Mars, to Lobo City. Is that clear?
Perfectly. This flight is to be logged under secret operations until further official notice.
Jack. All right, get busy.
You trust him? Sure. Can you handle that call to the cadet just as I instructed? With the G3K and him, he'll follow orders to the letter. I hope so. I still think we should have brought the girl along, though. What for? She served her purpose. The way we tied her up in her apartment, we'll be safely away from her long before she gets loose. It's a great idea, yours. Making Corey take us in his own ship. Sure. And even if we had been recognized, who's going to interfere with the business of the Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol?
Commander Corey aboard Terra 5 calling Space Control.
Space Control here. Go ahead, Commander.
Request permission to blast off immediately. Destination Mars.
Space lock number 2 is clear, sir.
Log this flight under secret operations file until further notice. Enter 2 unidentified civilian passengers under Technical Space Patrol custody as per Regulation 185-D.
Very good, Commander. May blast off when ready. Space Control out.
Great. When we're clear of Terra, we'll order Corey to change vector for Jupiter's fourth moon.
High rockets, Corey.
Corey doesn't know it's coming, but this is his last flight.
Cadet Happy stands before the door of an apartment at 618 Orion Way. On his face, an expression of worried indecision, for he has deliberately disobeyed an order from Commander Corey. Finally, his mind made up, he knocks at the door.
Who is it?
Cadet Happy. Is Commander Corey there?
No.
Will you open the door? I want to talk to you.
Come in.
It's locked. I say it's locked. You'll have to let me in.
I can't. I'm tied up.
You mean you're busy?
No, tied up with rope.
Smoking rockets. Why didn't you say so? Miss Randall. Miss Randall, what happened? Who did this?
Danforth and Conlon.
Where's Commander Corey? Wasn't he here? Miss Randall, answer me. Where's the commander?
I don't know.
Well, look, you called the commander at his office. Then he called me. Did he call from here?
I don't know.
Now, look, don't be afraid, Miss Randall. No one's going to hurt you. Where are Zankler and Conlon?
They've gone to Mars.
Mars? They made the commander take them. They made him phone me and get the ship ready, right? Well, you said they were going to Mars. Now, whereabouts on Mars? Lowell City? Come on, tell me.
No, they're not going to Mars. They're going to Jupiter's fourth moon.
Let's have it straight, Miss Randall. Which is it?
It's wearing off now. I can tell you the truth.
What's wearing off?
The formula G3K. They gave something into the commander with an ultrasonic infuser, and they had us under complete control.
All right, they're making the commander take them to Jupiter number 4. You're sure of that?
Yes. They've got a ship hidden there. When they land, they're going to destroy the Terra 5 and commander.
Not if I can help it. I'm going to get a ship and blast off after them.
But they've got a half-hour start.
Well, chances are they set a vector from Mars to make it look good. By the time they correct it to a vector for Jupiter 4... Look, every second counts. You're free now. I'm getting to the spaceport.
That's Moon 4, all right. What's your viewscope reading, Corey?
50,000 DUs.
His anchor will be there in less than an hour.
Yeah. Oh, come back here, Tom, then I want to talk to you.
Okay, what is it?
When Corey lands, you make sure our ship is ready to blast off. And I'll finish Corey. Conlon, look at the rear viewscope.
What's on that tail? The Space Patrol cruiser.
One of Corey's men must have got suspicion. Well, it's too late to back out now. Commander.
Yes?
There's a ship approaching directly behind us. Fire your rear space torpedo gun.
Fire? On that ship? Fine.
You will destroy that ship immediately. Set the rangefinder. That's it.
Gonna do it.
Now, fire.
It missed. Zankery double-crossed us.
No, I think it's the G3K. The chemical is making him obedient, but it's affecting the higher reasoning center of his brain. He made a mistake. Corey, fire again.
Space Patrol Cruiser T-65 calling the Terra 5. Zanker, I've alerted Jupiter Space Patrol. Play it smart and surrender.
Cadet Happy.
Corey, don't touch the spaceophone.
Commander, if you can hear me, listen. This is Happy. If they're ordering you to fire on the ship off your stern, resist. This is a Space Patrol ship. Do you understand? You're under the influence of a chemical. Formula G3K. Fight it.
Happy, but what's he telling me?
Commander, fire! That's not Happy. You ordered him to stay on Terra, remember?
It's Cadet Happy.
And he disobeyed your orders. He must be punished. Fire that torpedo. That's it. This time you won't miss.
You're right, Dankler. This time I won't miss. Now then for your neck.
Cadet Happy to Commander Corey. Listen to me, please.
Corey here. Everything's under control, Happy.
Oh, what a relief. What about Thankful and Conlon?
They won't be giving us any more trouble. I hope that torpedo didn't scare you too much.
Who do I thank for the bad marksmanship?
Me. The chemical was wearing off. Your voice really snapped me out of it, Hap.
That's good. I didn't know what to do.
How did you happen to take off after us?
Well, it was what you told me about the Henderson file. That case was closed weeks ago, and yet you told me to chase all over town with useless microfilm. I took a chance and checked with Martis Randall.
Is he all right?
Yes, sir. How come you picked the Henderson file, anyway?
It's lucky I did, but it wasn't intentional. If the G3K formula hadn't deadened my reasoning ability, I might have sent you on a plausible errand. Oh, by the way, under regulations, I can't ignore the fact that you did disobey orders.
No, sir, I guess not.
And according to Regulation 145W, the form of punishment is left to the discretion of the commanding officer.
I understand, sir.
Very well. Your punishment will consist of a 7-day special duty at the Space Patrol Recreation Camp at Lake Azure on Venus. You'll swim, hike, fish, or play ball not less than 1 hour each day, and that, Cadet, is an order.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hurry out.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. Hi, Space Patrollers. This is Captain Tufeld.
And Cadet Happy.
I'm reporting to you on Rice Chex.
And I'm reporting to you on Wheat Chex.
Rice Chex. Triple toasted spreaded rice biscuits that taste mighty good. Tops for taste. That's Rice Chex.
Wheat Chex. Boy, they've got a swell whole wheat flavor that can't be beat. Tops for taste. That's Wheat Chex, too.
And Rice Chex are made in that modern, bite-sized design for easy eating. It's tops for size. That's Rice Chex.
Wheat Chex are bite-sized for super easy eating. Tops for size, too.
And after a good, nourishing breakfast with Chex, rice, or wheat, you'll see their tops for get up and go.
Real Space Patrol get up and go, like the Commander has.
Chex, the good word to remember at breakfast time or any time, because
they're tops 3 ways: for taste, size, and get up and go.
So look for the red and white checkerboard packages with the picture of the Commander or
the swell picture of me on the outside.
Rice Chex.
Wheat Chex.
And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are aboard the Terra 5 out in space. Joined to the airlock is another ship whose pilot has identified himself as a Space Patrol agent.
Maybe the break we need, Commander. Maybe this agent can tell us where to locate Zorba. That spy ship from Tirana.
You'll know in a minute, Hap. A man's in the airlock.
Get your hands up, both of you.
Zorba. Let's get him, Hap.
I warned you not to move. Oh, yeah. That paralyzer ray will prevent any more nonsense. You are prisoners of war, captives of Tirana.
Be sure to join us next week for the thrilling story, Shipment to Tirana, when Rice Chex and Wheat Chex again present Space Patrol. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Timmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Virginia Hewitt, Bela Kovach, and Ken Mayer. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Rice Chex and Wheat Chex present exciting action on Space Patrol. This program is broadcast for our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.